Hello guys, welcome to another LabVIEW video tutorial in which we are going to discuss about the for loop. So, as we already covered the while loop in our previous video, so in addition of while loop, LabVIEW offers for loop as well. So in for loop, what we can do is we can just run an action or any specific code with a specific number of time. So if you already know like how many times you want to run this action or this part of the code, then you are gonna use the for loop. Instead, the while loop is gonna run all the time until someone externally gonna stop it or the some part of the code at some point gonna stop the while loop. So to create the for loop in the LabVIEW is pretty similar as we were creating the while loop. So let's go into the block diagram and let's right click on there, and then I'm gonna go into the structure palette, and into the structure you can see there is an option for loop. So again what you can do is you can just start from one point and then you can hold the button on your mouse and then you can drag anywhere wherever you want to finish your for loop like that. And you can see like this seems like the border seems like this is a stack of papers. So this is our for loop, but right now I want to delete this because there is another way how we can create a for loop. So I'm going to show. So let's delete this, remove for loop, and let's say I want to copy this, control C, control V. So I just copy already existing while loop. So what I can do is I can just move it here, and now what I want to do is I just want to change this while loop into for loop. So I'm gonna right click on it, like I can just come to the border and right click on it, and here you can see there is an option replace with for loop. Okay, so it's gonna changed from while loop to for loop, and that's why we have a stack of paper like that. So while loop, the outer border is like dark gray, while the for loop has a stack of paper, something like that. And there is another thing which you already might be noticed, like for the for loop, it does not need any stop condition. So that's why this connection is broken. So what I can do is I can just delete the stop button and broken wire. Sorry for distraction, but if you think my videos are helpful for you or if you are a serious LabVIEW learner, then I am gonna highly recommend you can go into the description of this video and then you can find a course link where I have over 5 hours of video where I explain each and every tool in very detailed and with an example as well. And if you have any ideas about collaborations, if you have some projects or assignments, any tasks, feel free to write me in my email, which is also in the description of this video. Thank you. Okay, and there is another thing, like you would see there is another addition into the for loop which is called n. So n is the counter number, how many times you want to run the for loop. So for that I just need to give a controller. So I can right click, create a control. So it's gonna create the control here, so I can bring my controller. This is my random number generator and this is my iteration number. Okay, so let's make them a bit organized. Okay, so I need to give a number here, like how many times I want to run this code. So I just wrote a control. So maybe it could be better if I want to change this to a constant number, change to constant. Okay, and then I can give a number like how many times I want to run. Suppose I want to run 10 times. Okay, and this is gonna record the iterations, and the random function number is gonna generate the random numbers, and for loop is gonna run all the time until 10th iterations, like 10 times, and the while loop would run until someone is gonna stop the while loop. Okay, so let's run the code. So as you can see here, the while loop is running continuously, and the for loop runs only 10 times. That's why we have the iteration 9s, because the first iteration is the one which was at 0th, and this was the last random number generator which was the 10th time. So in this way what we can do is we can differentiate between for loops and while loops. So might be you are thinking when to use for loop, when to use while loop. So when you don't know how many times you want to run your loop, So then you can use the while loop. So for the while loop, you need to write something in the code, some condition when it occurs, when it arises, then while loop should be stop. Or maybe you can provide an external stop button so user can stop from the button, and then while loop is gonna be stopped. While the for loop, you already knew how many times you want to run a action or certain section of the code, and you want to run number a specific number of times, and then you need to give that number to this counter. So in this way, for loop is gonna run according to your counter number. So this is the difference between them. So in this way, we can use a for loop or while loop. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe to support this channel, where you are gonna find a lot of lab videos and tutorials. And if you are a serious LabVIEW learner, I am gonna highly recommend you can go into the description of this video and you can find my course link, where I have over 5 hours of LabVIEW videos in which I have explained each and every tool in a very detailed video with an example as well. And if you have some projects or assignments or tasks, feel free to write me on my email, which is also given in the description. Thank you.